So Pokemon Sword and Shield finally came out, and just like everyone else, I have opinions on it. These games seem to be the most controversial Pokemon games to date, with critics eating it up but fans tearing it to shreds. So what do I think? Well, let's start with some of the positives, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Pokemon. I said before I'm pretty sure that I'm indifferent to most of the new Pokemon designs, but that changed as I played the game. Pokemon such as Cinderace, Appletun, and Alcremie all grew on me as I actually experienced them. And Pokemon like Draco Fossils impressed me with how they could be used competitively. Also, while I don't agree with the culling at all, I will admit that it has forced me to love Pokemon I wasn't used to before. For example, Mega Scyther was my favorite Steel type, but with his culling I had to adapt to and use other Steel types, which eventually led me to Aegislash. Another thing I really like is Pokemon Camp. It's basically Pokemon and me, but with all 6 Pokemon at once. The Pokemon have to do their own things. For example, sometimes they'll have races with each other, and sometimes they'll even get into fights. It's pretty cute just watching them go around, and you can interact with them with toys and stuff. Curring I'm more indifferent to because it hurts my hands to make. It seems like also like you're only able to make the best quality Kirby with multiplayer, and I don't really have access to that all the time, so it kind of stinks. A big problem I have with the game though is that all the other positives have some big buts attached to them. For example, the wild area is pretty neat, and it's impressive seeing all the Pokemon walking around. There's even NPCs too that you can interact with to get stuff like items you can sell and more money. But this is a big but. There's many problems with it. For example, the biggest problem I have is with the very strong Pokemon. Sure, lots of games have this mechanic where there are certain monsters in early game areas that you can't interact with. But with Pokemon, this idea doesn't make sense. The reward for finding a hard Pokemon should be to catch it and have a strong ally, especially since in these games it's harder to catch Pokemon that are a higher level than you. But instead, you're not allowed to catch these Pokemon at all, and you're pretty much forced to run away. And this especially stinks since it seems like you can find shinies that you won't be able to catch. Although this is very rare and I've only seen an instance of it, so maybe I'm wrong. Another problem I have is with raids. Although I do enjoy them overall, they just start to get boring after a while. It boils down to just using a super effective move. And while you do get legendaries who are supposed to make them easier, it ends up not being that way since Dynamax Pokemon break 2 shield points while legendaries can't Dynamax so they can only break 1. Quality of life for competitive is also pretty nice, but there are problems with it. Being able to change natures is amazing, and the reduced price for the BP shops is very nice too. But the problem here is that the Battle Tower is the worst it's ever been. Unlike before, there's only 2 modes you can do, basic singles and basic doubles. While you do rank up, it doesn't really seem to change how difficult it gets. I'm at max rank for both singles and doubles, and I don't really know as much of a difference from when I was at beginner rank. The Battle Tower also only gives 2 BP per win only. You do get rewards for ranking up, but once you're done it's just 2 BP per win, even against the Battle Tower boss, which really puts a damper on how much BP you earn. Now granted, you do earn BP from playing online, but if you're not able to access that, then you're pretty much screwed once you run out of ranks to move up. But let's start getting into some of the real negatives. The first one I have is the plot. It's completely nonsensical, honestly. It kind of takes the Etrianity approach where there's no plot for the first 4/5 of the game and then you're hammered with it for the last 5. I don't have a problem with that though. But I do have a problem with the who I do not get at all. To me at least, it's like a pretty clear job in environmentalism since, well, basically saying that we need to change our way of life now for our energy crisis out into the future. To me it sounds kind of like how people want to reform to help avoid climate change. But he's also an oil tycoon pretty much. It doesn't make sense to me. At least the post-game villains are pretty good. The game makes fun of how ridiculous they are. So maybe it was intentional, I'm really not sure. My other big problem with Dynamaxing, since unlike Mega Evolution Z moves, here it's completely broken. Take the extended power of Mega Evolution with the complete predictability of Z moves and the idea. Take Barraskewda, my Dynamax of choice. With G-Max with Geyser, with here Liquidation, in addition to being a super strong move, he can set his own rain, activating his own Swift Swim. With G-Max Mind Blast or whatever it's called, he can set up Psychic Terrain, which breaks his own one weakness, being priority attacks. And with G-Max Knuckle, he can boost his own attack, making his Sky High attack even higher. And Barraskewda is hardly even the best user of Dynamax. It also has the unfortunate side effect of making Gigantamax pretty lousy. About 20-something Gigantamax Pokemon, and of them, only 6 of them have Gigantamax moves, G-Max moves that end up being better than their Dynamax counterparts. Take everyone's favorite Pokemon, Charizard, for instance. In Dynamax form, its D-Max Fire move lets it set Sun, which is very useful, especially since Charizard has an ability that activates in Sun. However, its G-Max Wildfire move instead damages the opponent at the end of each turn. There's no real resistance. Compared to Sun, it's almost worthless. Again, there's only about 6 or so of the 20 Dynamax Gigantamax Pokemon that benefit from their G-Max moves, and there's a few side grades, but the rest are downgrades or not fully evolved Pokemon you're not really going to use. It's really disappointing since some of the big forms are pretty interesting. Overall, I don't hate Sword and Shield, but I also want to argue with someone who said these were the weakest games in the Pokemon lineup. The cold deck stinks, and the game's balancing is really bad. Not to mention, it's really almost impossible to find a Gigantamax Pokemon in the wild without an event going on. But the Pokemon that are here are great, and the Pokemon formula itself is still working, which is probably why we see so little changes. Overall, if I were to give a letter grade, not number grade, I'd give it a 5 out of 10, but I don't really believe in those. Instead, I usually ask 2 questions and I go over if I like the game or not. Is it good? I'm not sure if I can say it is, but is it fun? Yeah, probably. Thanks for watching.